What's up everyone, welcome back to more Reddit stories about entitled people, crazy people, and anything else we find interesting. As usual, we got some more Reddit posts to check out today, so be sure to share your thoughts about today's stories down in the comments and we're getting right into it. My girlfriend picked the bathroom lock while I was in the shower. Throwaway, because I have to admit something really embarrassing. I, 24 male, just had a bad fight with my girlfriend, Anna, 24. We met early in college, started dating 2 years ago, and then moved in together 3 months ago. I always thought we were great together. She's smart and funny, we've had the best talks, and have similar views on science and politics. But we moved in together and she got upset because I take long showers. I don't like to talk about it, but I'm a hairy guy. Think Luther from Umbrella Academy. I quit sports when I was 13 because I couldn't deal with what the other guys would say about how much body hair I already had by then. So I shave my whole body, and yes, it takes a while. Anna and I have never talked about my shaving, but she has to know I shave from feeling the stubble. So Anna started questioning why I spend so long in the shower. I should have just told her, but I was too embarrassed to say it takes a while to shave, so I said I just like thinking in the shower. Then yesterday, while I was in the shower, she used a screwdriver to pop the bathroom lock and caught me shaving. She put her hands on her hips and told me I was wasting water, and I yelled at her to get out. She didn't leave and lectured me more on wasting water. Then I shouted again a lot louder for her to get the F out. It freaked her out and she slammed the door behind her. I was mad and took a few minutes to cool down and think about what I was going to say to her. But when I got out, she had locked herself in the bedroom. I could tell she had her back against the door and was crying. She said I scared her and that I showed her that I wasn't the kind of man she thought I was. I told her she had scared me and that it didn't even make sense why she did it, because we don't even pay the water for our apartment. She got more upset and said I didn't even understand the problem because I showed her that I could be violent and abusive, and I just needed to leave. I tried to be calm and asked her to come out so we could actually talk about what happened, but she just kept saying I wasn't who she thought I was and I had to leave. We've argued about ideas but never had a fight before, and I swear I've never yelled or cursed at her before that. I hate fighting with anyone and am normally the more calm person when our friends have things going on. I feel like my whole world just suddenly fell out from under me. I don't think this was my fault, but I also think none of this would have happened if I wasn't so self-conscious about the body hair issue. Or maybe if I had just been honest from the beginning and told her why I take long showers. I'm sure this relationship is over now and things are going to be messed up for a while. And that brings us to the update. People here warned me to be careful with her after that incident. But I thought I knew Anna better than anyone on Reddit, and I thought for sure we would be mature and talk about everything once we were both calm. I sent her a text and said we could talk whenever she was ready about what happened, or that if she just wanted me gone, then we could talk about that too and come up with a plan to separate. I waited, but she never texted back. Then at work on Friday, I got called to the front desk. There was a police officer waiting for me there, and at first I thought something terrible might have happened. Instead, I got served a restraining order. The whole time I was being served, I got confused and I don't know what I was thinking. I know I didn't pay a lot of attention to what the cop was telling me. After he left, I did the stupidest thing anyone could do after getting an order of protection, and I texted Anna. I asked what was wrong and if this was a mistake, because from my end, this was just a huge misunderstanding and that if we could just talk, I knew we could clear this all up. 2 hours later, 2 police officers came all the way up to my desk and I was arrested, like handcuffs and everything in front of everyone I work with, and I was dragged out of the building and taken to jail. I have never been in trouble in my life, and I never once thought I'd end up in jail just like that. I got processed like a full-on criminal. I didn't know what else to do, and I called my parents when I could to let them know what happened. My hometown is like 6 hours away, but they found a lawyer and then drove over as fast as they could overnight to bail me out. Right now we're all staying in a small hotel while we figure out things with the lawyer, and I can't even process how things got here. I'm supposed to have a meeting with my boss in HR on Thursday, and I have no idea if I'm going to still have a job. All I can do right now is give others a warning to take things more serious than I did, especially getting something like an order of protection. Even if you think there's no way it could be real or valid, don't be an idiot and question it like I did. Go straight to a lawyer. And the last and final thing we ever hear from OP is in a comment where he says, "I'm still so confused as to how things are where they are, and there's a lot I don't know, but I had a meeting with my lawyer after he got the report on how I got a restraining order. After everything that happened originally 2 weeks ago, the police were called. They spoke with Anna and some neighbors at my apartment complex. and 2 people told police in the report that they heard me yell "F you," and then they heard loud bangs. I know the fight we had didn't happen the way those people said it did, but my lawyer says it's going to be hard to defend against multiple people who said that happened. There's also something about photos of bruises, but I have no idea when or how that happened. My lawyer thinks the biggest problem is the neighbor's report, and I think they just didn't hear everything that happened through the walls the way it actually did. So we have to try and find someone who will say that they heard me shout what I actually shouted, and that should help a lot. On the bright side, I had the meeting with my job, and my manager really defended me. We all agreed that it was a lot of drama that never should have happened at the office, but as long as I don't end up with a felony on my record, I will get to keep my job. So the big issue now is that Anna has a lawyer, my lawyer is talking to her lawyer, all communication has to go through them, and I'm hoping we can find a way soon to get all of this under control. Thank you to everyone who sent their thoughts and ideas of what to do after my last post. And yeah, that's unfortunately all we have from OP, so hopefully the situation worked itself out, or at the very least, hopefully didn't end up with OP getting convicted of something. I mean, assuming OP is telling the truth about what happened. Not accusing him of anything at all, but just pointing out that there's always 2 sides of a story. But working under the assumption that OP is telling the truth, then this whole thing is kinda scary, honestly. I don't know what exactly would have prompted several separate witnesses to say the same thing, that they heard OP yell "F you" and heard a loud bang, if none of that actually happened. What OP did say he yelled was to get the F out, so I guess that could have been what the neighbors were mishearing. And he did say his girlfriend slammed the door after that too, so maybe that was the bang. And also, the whole thing about bruises is pretty strange too. If it's true that OP didn't lay a hand on her, then that would mean she's trying to get him in trouble with made-up stuff, as in she gave herself bruises and reported it as part of the incident. Pretty messed up if that's the case. Someone opened a credit card in my name and ran up a $6,000 bill. My mom told me to just ignore it. Turns out she was the one who opened it. Looking for my next steps here as I'm still in college and 3 hours away from home. Long story short, I applied for a job for my last year of school, which required a background check. When I found out I didn't get the job a couple of weeks ago, I wasn't too shocked, as I'm sure a lot of people applied for the spots. What did shock me was when I got a letter on Tuesday from the employer, which said information in my credit may have been used against me. It then listed a charged-off account and multiple missed payments on an account. I've never been even a day late in my life for the one credit card I've had since I was 18. When I went to pull my credit, I saw the charged-off account, which looks like it was last updated in June. Immediately, I figured my credit had been stolen and called my mom. She said if I didn't open the account, just to ignore it, and if I get sued, tell the judge an unknown person stole my identity. That didn't make any sense to me, as anyone could say that about anything whenever they get sued. When I told her I was probably going to talk to the cops about it, she said I wouldn't want those people in my life. My roommate said it sounded like my mom opened the account and doesn't want to get in trouble for it. I was able to speak with someone in the fraud department for the card and they got me some information about it. Several cash advances from an ATM about a block from my mom's house, along with a couple of stores in my hometown. I told my mom all of that and asked her to come clean. She refused and got mad at me for accusing her of stealing my identity. Finally, I told her I am going to the police about it and she blew a gasket, saying she needed the money and to mind my business. She said I can't call the police because they might revoke her probation, felony battery charges from last year, and she might end up doing time in county. I can't really sacrifice my future in this case, and while I love my mom, I am devastated she'd do this to me. I think I should go to the cops, but I am feeling some guilt about it. Update: I ended up filing a police report for identity theft. The day after I did it, I got a call from an investigator and we talked for about 20 minutes. We also talked a little bit about the job I applied for, which is federal, and he said their background investigator would definitely be pulling his report for the identity theft. Because of that, I decided to go through with charges. Last week, the investigator called me back to confirm I would be willing to testify against my mother, though he didn't think it would come to that and would likely end with a plea. I told him I would. Yesterday, my mom got arrested on her way home from work. She has an initial appearance this afternoon, but on her previous felony, it looks like a petition to revoke has been filed with a date later this month. I feel like she's going to snap like she's never snapped before on me when she gets out, probably later today. I don't plan on answering the phone. And on to the final update. My mother had her petition to revoke hearing yesterday, and from what I understand, the investigator for my identity theft case made a statement and her probation was revoked. She got remanded into county jail immediately. My sister was freaking out all day yesterday trying to get my mom's affairs in order, since we have no idea when she'll get out. I haven't heard from the investigator since the call a few weeks ago, but I take it as a good sign he made a statement and my mom's probation was revoked. Another good thing is that the account came off of my credit report. My credit is back above 740 with no negative marks. I feel like I've at least gotten some justice since she's back in jail, even if it isn't specifically for identity theft. Entitled Dad screamed at me because I wouldn't let his kid pet my dog, while my dog was wearing a do not pet vest. So this happened yesterday while I was walking my rescue dog, Luna. She's a 4-year-old German Shepherd mix, super smart and sweet with me, but she's nervous around strangers, especially sudden movements or loud voices. I've been working with a trainer and she wears a bright red do not pet in training vest every time we go out. We were in a quiet neighborhood park and Luna was sniffing grass while we practiced recall. Out of nowhere, I hear this man say, "Go ahead, honey, go pet the dog." And this little girl, maybe 6, starts running straight toward Luna. I immediately said, "Please don't," and stepped in front of Luna. The dad rolls his eyes and goes, "She just wants to say hi, she loves dogs." I said, "I'm sorry, she's not comfortable being touched." He scoffs and says, "You shouldn't bring her out in public if she's aggressive." At this point, Luna is just sitting behind me, calm but tense, tail tucked. I told him, "She's not aggressive, she's in training, that's what the vest is for." Then he yells, "She'll never get better if you don't let people pet her. You're the reason dogs end up mean." Like, what? I literally train her daily and take every precaution. I told him, "I'm protecting both your kid and my dog. Please leave us alone." He threw his hands up and muttered something like, "Crazy dog people," and walked off while his daughter said sorry. The thing is, if my dog had reacted badly, he'd be the first one to demand she be put down. People don't realize how dangerous it is to let kids run up to strange dogs, even friendly ones. Please, for the love of all things canine, teach your kids to ask before touching a dog. Alright guys, that's going to be it for today. Thank you for watching, I appreciate it. Be sure to drop a like on the video if you enjoyed and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more Reddit content like this. So I'm out of here, stay tuned for more and I'll see you next time.